Naruto 642 viewer comments. Before we get started in viewer comments, I want to make sure we're on the same shooting music. Here's some information, just to make sure. Okay, Yin is the spirit portion of the Jubi Minato. Okay, Yang is the physical. Okay, which Naruto has. Yin Yang release supposedly was involved in the creation of the white Zetsu. Okay. Also, supposedly Yin Yang release is what Jubito is using to negate ninjutsu. Okay. Now, bear with me on this part right here. If Naruto gets both parts of the Nine Tails, which looks like it's going to happen, then possibly he can get Yin Yang. Okay. And cancel Jubito's negating of ninjutsu. I realize already his natural energy and everything is working, but still, so bear with me. Hold on, almost done. Now, even though he would be a lot weaker than Jubito, it would be enough to cancel it and take a defensive measure away from Jubito. The same type of thing as with the Kamoi, okay, that Jubito has. That it could be, or it could have been negated when it was Obito and Kakashi, even though Kakashi, chakra and wise and everything wasn't anywhere near as powerful. Okay, he could still cancel what Obito was doing. That's my idea. Now, why the Eight Tails can't do that, I don't know. Maybe there's something special about the Nine Tails, but that's a little bit of the Yin Yang mixture all on that, and kind of a little bit of my prediction maybe. So, moving on. Alright, thank you for your patience. Is no good. Embrace yourselves. Full QB mode. Naruto is coming. I hope we can see Naruto combining Sage mode with QB Chakra. I think it's possible. It was shown during the fight with Pain. To be honest, that's all from Minato. Probably he's going to say goodbye to Naruto, and he can't do much without an arm. I feel sorry for him. Maybe Jiraiya will come take his spot now. Haha. All right, a couple other things here. Minato is the things. Some people are kind of upset of the beating that he took. He didn't create the situations. Okay, the first did. Actually, Ochomaru really laid it out pretty well. Okay, as evil as Ochomaru is, okay, these other characters really laid out a lot of problems that just ended up festering and then just blew up all over the place. And even like the second inventing the Edo Tensei, which he shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Just on and on. So they're correct. But did Minato have a lot of excuses? Sure he did. The third decided to retire. He didn't take care of Danzo like he should. The guy he was too young, put in an impossible situation. But it still stands. The criticism still stands, even though he was put in an impossible situation. So I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands that, because later on there's going to be a lot more of this. I've already read, most of the comments here already. All right, moving on. Appreciate your comments. NW order. Let's see. This is a reply to. Okay, Loyalist Viral. Can't wait to see some Sage mode beat down. I wonder how much damage will be done to Obito from it, and I'm glad Tobirama isn't being a massive asshole all the time. NW Order for Life responds. He's judging Naruto as an embarrassment because his transformation fizzled out. Sounds kind of dickish to me. And let's see. Mr. RJ 23. I didn't expect Minato to get owned this bad. Obito did his best talk no jutsu yet. I expect he finally won one, didn't he? Well, he slammed Madara at one point too. But anyway, I expect Minato to get his arm back by receiving some chakra from Sage Naruto, or going to some form or state if he can, which is doubtful. I wouldn't be choked if Obito tries to take the second Hokage out first, because he's the one making things harder. That would be wise, wouldn't it? That would definitely be the guy to get out, because he's transporting everybody else around. He's doing the switches. He's way too much. He's way too much for Obito to deal with. I can't wait for the Yin Kyuubi. I wonder how different he is from the Yang QB. See, that's going to be interesting. How long will it take before there's a merger? What kind of difficulties and everything? So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Anyway, I appreciate everyone's comments. And then Michael Gethman is replying to your comment with, I hope he gets a cool new look from the other chakra. That could be good. And then at NWR, or you were so on Mr. RJC23 that you also hope that. All right. And I'm trying to get the questions and responses, but I don't guarantee anything. There's some funny ones in here. But anyway, Kaisuke Nakamura. I'm guessing it's natural power only that can touch Obito. It was stated that the Ten Tails was nothing but natural energy. The only natural form that Naruto has, for what I know, is his Senju form, Sage Mode form. I like how Naruto got Obito with the super fast attack with Tobirama's help. Flying Thunder God Rasengan. Good thing Minato didn't name it. Minato shouldn't feel bad about himself. Obito is just a rebel that thinks he could look down on people while he himself is blind and let himself become such a perfect villain. And then response to you, NWR for life. Yes, natural energy is the only thing that can hurt a sage of the sixth path. Minato is feeling bad because he realizes that if he was there for Obito and Ren, none of this would have happened. He made a choice to prioritize the mission rather than the safety of the students, and now he's paying the price for it. Yes, he did. Even I like the way you put that. That's the whole Kakashi thing, isn't it? It's you're messed over either way, so you may as well at least try to come at it with your friends. Even if his decision was a better choice, it's still a sin to his team, and it's something he has to live with. And he was a young guy. I'm talking about Minato. He was sitting there flying all over the place, trying to save the village, winning the war, doing everything, trying to solve personal issues. It was too much. The third put him in that position. This has got me laughing. And Jack Crasher is like, F you, Ren. All right. I don't know why I think that's funny. It just is. And all the Ren stuff, I guess that's been coming. All right. Okay. Let's see. And let's see. All right. Look, I'm looking on here. There's a lot of going back and forth. There's something about my volume. I don't know what I can say about the volume. I don't. Most people seem to think it's fine. Let's see. Okay. Frozen Craft. I need my dose of Madara versus someone. Heck, even if it's a wood clone, or he could go team up with the good guys. Just use him for something already. I knew that. I said in my review. I knew somebody was jonesing for Madara, Hashirama fight, something. NW Order for Life. Absolutely love this chapter. Naruto's Sage Mode being the key to victory is great. Can't wait to see Sasuke's reaction next chapter. Also, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Naruto will combine Sage Mode with QB Mode. Yep. Can't wait to see that transformation. And I agree with you, Rampage. Minato made a choice to abandon his team in favor of the war, and now he is paying for his sins. You can't refute that Obito is saying, in my opinion, this makes Minato an even better character. He has flaws. Thank you. He has depth, just like all of us do. Even people that consider themselves good people. And Minato's an awesome person. I don't think anybody is trying to say Minato. This is a deal here, okay? Really, really, really good people like Minato, which he is. And I think some people think that that's trying to be taken away from him. He isn't. He's an awesome person. But he did some stupid things that led to some evil, okay? And that's just like people do all the time. Like I say, a young person thrust into positions of power way too soon. I can't, but anyway, it's all right. I appreciate your comments. Hit it right in the nail on the head. All right, awesome comments. I can't believe it was like 111 comments. I actually had enough, 12 hours after I put the video out, I had 60 plus comments. I had enough to where I could have done this, and I actually thought about doing it. If I had a little more time, I would have. Done it early. That's crazy. All right. Anyway, awesome comments, everybody. DS37. Obito is a master of talk no jutsu. He is right at the moment. I mean, he's always has a simple yet great speech that seems to aim where it really hurts. To see Minato question himself like that. Minato is like Herzen. He failed one of his students who turned out to be a mass murderer. Ooh. I like that. Ochimaru. Obito. Yeah. I like that Naruto was able to take advantage of Gamakichi's attack and combine with the second while shutting his mouth in the meantime. Yeah. Well, the second's been invaluable, but I mean, you just see how it is. You know, Minato came out and everybody was like, oh, this guy's so freaking great. And then right now, you know, you get built up and you get tore down. And right now, you know, the second's been getting tore out. That's another thing. People, I think most people, or a big majority of people now, have a much better impression of the second. But they're not saying he isn't a jerk or all kind of other a whole bunch of four-letter words. But he's got his good parts too. So that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it really interesting. That's why the most interesting character in Naruto, in my opinion, and what I think it would be a consensus, is Itachi, because he's done a massive good and evil, massive. I mean, he's just a hard-to-find character. A lot of things were done to try to save, like to save his brother, or because he was, you know, had a compulsion to do this or whatever. You know, trying to you see it. You try to do a greater good by doing evil, and then it ends up becoming bigger evil. You see the traps. That's what makes it so interesting for us all. Anyway, all right, really do appreciate that. Those comments. Tell me, Phil. This is where I think Kishi is genius. People say, oh, compared to One Piece, Naruto isn't funny anymore. Come on, Naruto series has evolved a lot. I don't want to see goofing around in the war like dragons, making people naked in Fairy Tail during a serious war. I hate recycling. The comic relief in Naruto is more subtle. Like Naruto's epic failure at Bijou mode. That was my favorite part. Naruto's not very funny. Naruto is not... Naruto is not very funny. That's not why I read Naruto. I agree with you. Fairy Tail, I won't get into this a whole lot, but it is very funny. But he doesn't know... Hero doesn't know when to stop. But right now, which what I think you're saying is that Kishi has got the right balance. There's a little bit of Kishi's a little bit funny, so he's doing a little bit of humor. So that little bit of humor works. It's okay. It's fine. He isn't going too far with it. All right, he's got his balance. That's where I think that's what you're saying. I think you're agreeing, and we're both agreeing that Kishi's a genius. Okay, appreciate your comments. Axel Stoner. Good chapter, but fell short. Can't wait for Naruto to get full chakra of the Nine Tails. And also see what Madara's trump card is. It's amazing how Kishimoto just keeps us going with all these different things he's got up in the air. It's amazing. All right, appreciate your comments. All right, this is okay. Here we go. It's no good. This is a good observation. Imagine how ugly would Jiraiya Ito Tensei and Sage Moon come off. The crazy looking nose and all that. Yeah, that'd be pretty messed up. Everybody's waiting for Jiraiya. Fan service right now, of course, would be Jiraiya, and that would be Inazuna. So yeah, that's what people are looking for. All right, appreciate your comments, and let's see. R. Jarrell, can anyone answer this? What does it mean that Madara said that Naruto has all the Bijous inside him? And does that mean when he gets the other half of Kuroma's chakra, will he go into full six paths mode? Well, he's, like I said, I think he's going to be in a position to be able to cancel out a lot of what Jibito is doing. What I find interesting, well, anyway, I'll go ahead and skip that part because it's, all right, appreciate your comments. I'll get to this later. Madara lives. I enjoyed this chapter. I think Sage Mode makes up half of the Sage of the Six Paths, and that's Naruto's key to beating Obito. I mean, if we think back to Kabuto, when he achieves his Sage Mode, he states that he's the closest living thing to the Sage of the Six Paths. I talk about this more in my review, but no one has to watch it if they don't want to. Anyway, great video, Rampage. As always, full support, anime fan. Hey, I appreciate it, and I don't know if you did a review. Just remember, and you may have already done it. Maybe I've already accepted it. You could post your video to my video, and then that way people can look at it and link it up there. But anyway, all right. Like I say, you may have already done that. I may have already proved it. If anything, just to everybody, if it looks anime-ish, I don't even care if it's Naruto. If it's anything in anime, I'll approve it. I have no problem with that. Okay. All right. If it's something for somebody's vacation or something like that, that's kind of a little iffy. But anyway, appreciate your comments. Michael 19790. This chapter left interesting question. If Minato's Edo Tensei was partially canceled from his hand because Jubito has the ability to cancel ninjutsu, then could Ochomaru fix Minato by replacing lost ninjutsu chakra? I don't think so. I think this is my own guess. Okay, since I don't know, is that I think it's like a partial sealing. I think it's just like that part of him is sealed. It's just gone. Okay, since it can't regenerate. Okay, it's just like instead of the whole body being sealed, just that part's gone. Anyway, that's my guess. All right, and let's see. And you continue on. In the last comment video, there was a discussion about Sasuke and Naruto's fusion, and that reminded me that I get some more water. That I used to play around with the thought of Shadow Clone with combined abilities of Naruto and Sasuke. Meaning, if Naruto and Sasuke synchronize their chakras, Naruto could, in theory, create from that synchronized chakra a fused Shadow Clone. Well, that's possible, but just staying on. When I first heard the whole, and I'm probably just going to be kind of a little scratchy all through this video. When I heard the whole Naruto Sasuke fusion thing, let's just say I didn't take it with a whole lot of enthusiasm. But as I thought about it, and as you're discussing it here now, I wouldn't say a fusing, but some kind of a temporary, not where they actually is people, but they may be able to create a whole that is them individually, but within it, if that makes any sense. The way that Madara was able to fuse have the nine tails to power, okay, and his Susanoo as the shield, okay. It may be that Naruto and Sasuke may be able to be kind of like that, okay, but offensively, okay. So kind of like some kind of a fusion, but not where they really actually merge together as entities. Is what I'm saying. But the more, it's one of those things, the more you think about it, you start going, there could be something to that. All right, and let's see. Appreciate your comments. G. Gorsey, Minato is in Kyuubi chakra mode. Naruto wasn't friends with Kurama when he first got Kyuubi. Chakra mode, all he needed was Kurama's chakra. And if Senjutsu is the only thing that works, then Naruto won't be able to go into Bijou mode unless he can use Sage mode and Bijou mode at the same time, which we've never seen. And Naruto can use Sage mode, but only about 5 to 10 minutes. But if he comes by Sage mode and Bijou mode combined, he can be just like the first Hokage. No time limit, use Sage mode. Interesting, good points. and but see, that's the thing is we don't know. Well, Kishimoto's the only one. He's just going to invent it. It's his world. We're in Kishimoto's world, so if he says it works something kind of like the way that you're laying it out, then that's it. So I like where you're going with it. Good. Okay, education. I found the concept of reuniting the Kyuubi and Naruto quite threatening. Naruto had enough trouble establishing an understanding with what now appears to be Kuruma's light side. Adding an equal quantity of actual pure malice into the mix could spell major trouble. Maybe the only reason Naruto was able to tame Kurama was because Minato sealed the worst of the Kyuubi in himself and the best in Naruto. Love the vids page and always my first port of call after I read the latest chapter. Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And I'm sure that a big part of that is this community with the comments. I really do appreciate that. Let's see. What was I going to say? There was definitely a lot of people. Let's remember, it was combined. His mother had the whole Kyuubi, and the concept seems to be what you've seen. Naruto had to conquer that that part of himself that felt a victim, that felt all that. He just had to grow up, you know, which a lot of human beings, all of us at some point in time, are hurt. We're hurt as kids. We're hurt as adults. We have these things within us, and they eat at us if we don't get to them. You know, the inner path, right? If you don't work on the inside, it can just eat away at you. So, and that's what his mother said, and that was the whole thing. That's why he had to go to the trial, and he saw the little boy, you know, his own self, and it was just the rage how people had treated him. And he just like, you know, let it go. So, I think that Naruto's conquering that thing within him. That hate is what the Kyuubi feeds off of. So, I don't think the other thing's pure evil, and it may take a little bit of an adjustment, okay? But I think it's the source of the power that makes the Kyuubi evil is inside the Jinchuriki, not the tailed beast. Just my opinion. Alright, appreciate your comments. Okay. And G. Gorsy's got a couple of comments. I think I know the reason why Madara keeps fighting Hashirama for Obito. It's because Hashirama has Sage Mode 2, and he could fight Obito. Madara so stopping him from that. Maybe we do not know about Madara can use Sage Mode. He can use Wood already, so maybe he can use Sage Mode. He may surprise us. The Kyuubi was split into yin and yang portions. Naruto got the evil Kurama, noting that when Naruto conquered hate, then said he would change Kurama as well. If the Black Spear attacks don't allow Ito Tensei to regenerate, then the third is dead, with his face blown away a few chapters back. Sasuke ain't talking shit about chakra right now either. Well, you know what always happens? Sasuke gets some massive power up, okay, because he's been motivated to outdo Naruto, and then Naruto would always, I mean, it was always back and forth with these two. So, yeah, it's just the way it is. So Sasuke just, you know, he surpasses him, and then Naruto will go and pass him up again. Awesome comments. And, yeah, okay, I think I already commented everything here. All right. And like I say, that could be, what you're saying, some other people are saying too, that could be what the third, people are like, where's the third? That could be because he just can't regenerate. He's done. Okay, Genesaur. Naruto is on fire at the moment. These chapters have been brilliant lately, I agree. As much as I love Minato, he was partly to blame. He could have done anything, he couldn't have done anything about Obito getting crushed by those rocks because he was on the battlefield. But where was he when Kakashi and Rin were in trouble? Before I finish this, that's been brought up too. That whole Kakashi-Rin thing, there was a fair amount of people, and I think it was even here in viewer comments here, that were like, where is this freaking Minato? What a teacher. Where the heck is, every time anything happens to his students, that guy isn't anywhere near. So once again, but anyway, like I say, you can't be. You can travel, even when you can travel time space, you can't actually be in the same place at the same time. Now you're going to say, well, you could have sent some clones to go over and midi. Okay, there's limits. He's their sensei. He's supposed to keep them safe. Where was he when Ren became the Jinchuriki? The only person I saw trying to save her was Kakashi. And all, I mean, of course, the story would have been different, but he should have. He absolutely should have said, okay, you're going to be somebody else's students. Because I'm running the village, I'm the main war hero, trying to be a good father and husband. You get the idea. So, whatever. Okay. And let's see. This is, if I'm getting these comments even remotely. Okay, Janisorth. Does Naruto even know Kakashi was Minato's student? I can't wait to see his reaction when he finds out. Yeah, I don't think he does. Because, Kakashi knew. Course, but the whole thing, who Naruto was and all that, so that's true. Although that's a fun fact, but it probably won't be a game changer. And then response to you is NW Order for Life. At this point, he should. He knows Kakashi was on the same team with Obito, and he knows that Minato was Obito's sensei. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think that Naruto knows that. But I may be wrong. And let's see. Okay, Chaz Malakian. Maybe since the first, second, third were attacked when Toby was in his form, that he couldn't control the Jubi's power. I'm thinking Hiruzen may recover because his power of nullifying Jutsu only started working when Toby started controlling the Jubi's power. If not, Hiruzen was taken out too soon. And then responding to you is Janisorf. That's a great point. You're probably right. And actually that's it, responding there. And then with C, you're responding. Okay, NW Order for just some responses here. NW Order for Life. I just hope Hiruzen gets some feats before he's taken out. Minato's death flag has been raised out there before he goes. I'm sure he's going to do something awesome besides giving Naruto the other half of the Kyuubi. Maybe he will get a father and son team up before he disintegrates away with a smile saying, I'm happy to see you all grown up. I leave the rest to you. Well, he kind of already said that you guys are the stars. He's kind of already eased himself out as far as I'm concerned. And there'll probably be some little short thing. I don't think it's going to be much, though. And let's see, I believe responding to you is Janisorf. Yep, also can't wait to see the reaction of what a great ninja Kakashi has grown into. He doesn't know Kakashi is Naruto's sensei, so I'm sure he'll be happy about that too. Maybe I already did read that. Well, anyway, moving on. Okay, there's a lot of back and forths here. Let's skip some of this for time. Neo Snipe. Yeah, Obito's words were harsh. I thought Minato was going to succumb for a second, but then Naruto kicked his ass. Well done, Naruto. An epic scene. Awesome chapter. Nice review. Hope to see Mandara's next chapter. Yeah, I'm going to skip some comments here. They're good comments. I'm just going to for time and to get more people into the video. All right. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Marcus, for Obito to blame Minato is wrong. How would he have known that was him back then? When Minato fought a much more powerful shinobi, the student Minato had was not a talented ninja. Not at all, Obito. Was the least talented ninja on that Minato team. He had no idea that one day his student would become the Enigma. It is impossible. Listen, for those who aren't parents, understand this because I'm a parent of 2 teenagers. And a 4-year-old, you can lead your children to drink the water, but you can't make them drink it. When they get older, they adopt their own perception on life, their choices, certain things that parents would never approve of. This is what human beings do. We learn a certain way, and then sometimes we stray from those teachings. Minato, once again, knowing the way his student was and had no idea that he would turn out. Well, I think we've all kind of giving some really good stuff. Minato's been a really big topic on here. He getting both him deserving to get beat down, but like I say, what you're saying is, I think that kind of what's already been said. You know, you feel that something's being taken away from Minato, that he's getting the responsibility isn't being put on Obito himself, right, for what happened, and for others they're kind of throwing responsibility back on Minato. But I think they're all responsible, to be perfectly honest. All of them. I mean, I hate to say, well, I don't hate to say this, but Ochomaru shockingly really laid it out, you know, how all the Hokages had really screwed things up pretty bad. So, and he's evil. Ochomaru's evil. That's an evil, evil, evil dude. Experiments on babies and everything. That's an evil dude. But even he can be right in criticizing other people. But anyway, moving on. Appreciate your comments. And you continue on, Mr. Marcus. To become this enigma, this misleading person, ruthless, heartless, and confused individual, whether he is a student or your own child. When they make their own choices, and sometimes they make the wrong choices, do you then turn around and blame yourself? No. Every man and woman are responsible for their own actions. Minato, as teacher, never neglected his students. Obito, he chose his own destiny. No one's to blame. Only Obito. Even if Minato could have caught his bad ways, there's no guarantees. All right, well, I already addressed that. We continue on. And NW Order for Life responds, he did neglect his students. He put the mission before them. Yes, every man is responsible for his own actions, and women, of course. And Minato's decision not to tag his students with seals so he can teleport into them from time to time was foolish. Kishimoto is showing that Minato made a mistake, which is great because it makes him human and much better character. Now, I think you already basically have said that before. Excuse me, but that's the other part of it. So this is a really good discussion. Okay, and then there's a little bit back. Okay, I'll go into some back and forth here. Mr. Marcus. So he gets a pass, but Minato gets hung because of the mistake. All the Hokages and teachers, such as Kakashi and others, have made huge mistakes. But that's cool. That goes. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And then NW Order for Life. He's a villain. Choosing to use force to change the world, he's not getting a pass. He just has no conscience right now. If he should be taught no jutsu to repent, then he will have to deal with his choices of sacrificing dozens of other people for his ideals. Until then, it's not even a blip on the radar. Minato, however, is the good guy who has empathy for others, and thus is feeling guilt over how he is partly responsible for Obito's being what he is today. And there's a little more back and forth, but basically it's kind of what we already said before. Both sides are being laid out. The thing is Mr. Marcus, you're laying out very good points. The thing is like I said, I think, let me put it this way. I'll just tell you what my opinion is, so I can't, okay, real quick. Everyone is to blame, basically. They're all to blame. Pointing out the portion of the blame that goes to Minato doesn't take anything away from Obito's choices that have basically damned him. Okay, that's just my opinion. But so I think you think that we're just giving Obito a pass and piling it all on Minato, and it's not what I'm doing. I don't think that's what other people are doing. But anyway, this is a very good discussion. But I'm going to go ahead and pass up on the rest of that part of it. And I normally read I normally read like 99% of the comments, but as time goes on, there's a lot more comments. I'm going to be reading less. I mean, it's if somebody makes 15 comments on here and I only read 7 or 10 of them, I don't think that's really ripping people off. Okay, let's see. But the comments are awesome, though, by the way. Let's see. Appreciate your comments. Chaz Malakian, great chapter. I didn't like Minato being blamed for everything when it's not his fault. That is definitely this is the Minato chapter here. On manga 629, the Jubi senses the chakra of the beast on Naruto. So Naruto needs the full Kyuubi to make him also an imperfect version of the Sage of the Six Paths, just like Toby. Naruto has Sage Mode Kyuubi and leftover beast chakra. Toby has Renegon, Beast Chakra, leftover 8 and 9 Tails Chakra. It's going to be epic. Almost like the Sage of the Sixth Path. Two sons fight again. Good video. Keep up the good work. I like the whole thing. Remember how that he could use the Kyuubi, and you could be like in the Kyuubi. You know, he had people in. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The whole possibility of combining a lot of what people are talking about. You know, and it may be even, you know, Susanoo. Once again, it may be Susanoo, but powered by Sasuke. Okay, and then, you know, Naruto doing his thing in there, combining it. Right? We've seen that through Madara. With some twists, with quite a few twists though. All right, but anyway. All right. Mike James, I would love if finally two things happen. One, Naruto uses other aspects of his Windstone battle or a new jutsu altogether. Two, if and when he gets the full 9 tails, he's able to transform into an even cooler Bijou mode, and also a mode where he looks almost identical to the real 9 tails. 3, Sarutobi enters the fight in some kind of badass way, maybe preparing a jutsu all this time, but awesome chapter this week. I don't know, maybe. I'm really, to be honest, I'm kind of Sarutobi'd out, you know, kind of hersened out. I'm not. I don't hate the character. He's like the thread that links everyone together. You know, he's someone that knew the first. You know, Naruto, just important. You know, really important character, and I think he's awesome. But he also made a ton of mistakes. But one, you know, thinking that Danzo, not taking care of Danzo, and then the whole thing with Orochimaru and all that business. But anyway, so yeah, for that part of it, you know, if it happens, it happens. I don't think it's that essential, but we'll see. I mean, it's Kishi's world. Appreciate the comments. Okay, let's see. Okay. How am I going to put it? Sergio KJ PV. Well, we know now something for sure. Tobirama is not an idiot like I thought. No, he's not an idiot. He's kind of goofy, crazy guy though. And let's see. All right. Michael Gethman. I like the new talent element in Jibito's attack, his anti-ninjutsu technique. I only had one problem with this chapter. How did Naruto get into Sage mode so quickly? Doesn't Naruto have to sit down first and concentrate really hard? Naruto went into Sage mode very fast this time. I'm wondering if Tobirama had something to do with the speed of Naruto's transformation. Tobirama, by the way, was an epic genius in his chapter. Yeah, he was. And before I continue on with your thing, what you're saying is awesome. Since he is time space, he could start, which we're seeing in some other animes. Maybe he just sped up time for Naruto so that he was, which is pretty interesting. I like that. All right, you continue on. Tobirama sees how much of the difference Gamakichi's attack had on Obito than Naruto, and Sasuke's attack. Then Obito uses this new technique and teleports a Sage Naruto Rasengan into Obito's back. That was cool. That was freaking awesome. I'm okay with Madara not being in this chapter because the action replaced him rather well. Minato might die even if he's an Edo Tensei. Wow, sounds like something a god could do. Obito still needs to show more OPness for us, for the audience to feel hopelessness and victory. Great review, Steve. I appreciate it. And yeah, this is well, yeah, we do need to see more. I think we are though. The action has been so intense. I haven't seen too much blowback on it because it's. You see, I mean, this is what's incredible. Right in the middle of a battle, the dialogue isn't too heavy, but since we know because we know the characters so well now, or at least well enough, to where the comments, you know, we get it. It doesn't. You don't have to write a whole book about or start having too many flashbacks. You know, we understand the characters. And you continue on with one more comment. Michael Gethman. Oh, and one more thing. Maybe if Naruto gets the other half, the Kurama, we'll get to see a new chakra outfit for Naruto and hopefully the new full fox formation. There's a few people have brought that comment up. Let's see. Another Mr. Marcus. Excuse me again. Listen, if we're going to start blaming people, the previous generation in this anime are to blame for the outcome of the future ninja. Did a nice job of the case and many issues facing the village as it is right now. We can also blame Kakashi for favoriting Sasuke over Naruto. He made that mistake. After failing as a teacher, I mean, they all seem to make that mistake, don't they? Allowing his student leaving the village to pursue more power, then so be it, right? First, everybody's at fault. I'll go ahead and move from there. Mr. Marcus, appreciate it, but you're right. It's what you're saying is correct. I think we're all in the same sheet of music now. They're all to blame. They're all to blame. Even though I guess it was it was vicious on Minato, and maybe that's just like I say, it was, but it was just, you know, all right. Okay, and then all right, I'm gonna have to say this one. Arthur TH3, great. Anyone else notice that Naruto formed their Sengon without a clone? The only thing is depending on what form he's in, is he using an arm like in QB mode? I don't know. It's his abilities right now. I'm kind of I don't know. All right. Anyway, where's Waldo? And then you actually respond to your own comment here. Let's see. I love the way Naruto is becoming more analytic ninja over the course of a few chapters, even to the point where the second recognizes that he's not so dumb after all. He does notice things, and he holds things. He can be a sneaky little guy. I'm guessing here, but I think Obito learned how to counter Edo Tensei after ripping the first and second half. If you go back to 639, he rips him in half and then jumps to the third and blows his top half off. Since we haven't seen the third yet, that might be why, right? A lot of people are guessing that's why. Though they all pointed out that Obito was in a dreamlike process. Okay. Okay, then you respond to that. Where's Waldo again? It makes me question if Obito has some type of genjutsu, like a sub-level infinite Tsukiyomi on everyone else, or even just himself. That might be a reason why the senjutsu energy, natural energy, will work on him, because it's accumulating the energy from inside of the user rather than outside of the user rather than within. I can't really support why senjutsu works, but that's my guess. It's an interesting theory. That would be something. That would be a reason. That would be. Now, it may not be work that way in Kishi's world, but it could work in someone. That's pretty clever. Okay. Let's see. Let me do a time check. Let's see where I'm at here. 43, almost 44 minutes. Okay, it's funny how Minato is a genius and Naruto the village idiot. However, Naruto is a genius in his own right. Kakashi is chilling in the Phantom Zone, and it could be he can't come out because of Obito's new power. Yes, we are going to get the unification of Kurama. It's about time. Yes, it is. Jazz0114. Senjutsu Chakra works on Obito. Guess it's Jugo's time to shine. I remember your comment here. And then the probability to get knocked back down. LOL. Jugo, where's his whole thing? And he's got crazy natural energy, right? He'd be interesting. So, and of course, Hashirama and all that. So yeah, a lot of interesting possibilities here. Trent Lomenga, #1 comment. I knew Obito would be able to cancel Edo Tensei. But my question is, was Sasuke speaking to someone other than Naruto? It sure seemed that way. I've been wondering what and how Naruto would look like in Sage and Kyuubi mode simultaneously. Seems it won't be long before we find out. Sasuke, you disappoint me. Rather, Kishi disappoints me when it comes to Sasuke being outclassed by Naruto. This is something I've thought, and I just, before I read your next comment on here, Truth Omega, it feels like right now that we have more of an understanding of what's going on with Obito and where he's at than Sasuke. Even though there was his brother, we know his childhood, it just feels like Sasuke is not, it's like he's like less understood now or something. At least to me. He feels like a character that's got more transparent, where Obito is more solidified more as a character, if that makes any sense, which is odd. And that is, I guess, a criticism, because we should have a better... The whole thing about it is the whole idea of keeping Sasuke to the point where is he going to go back to the middle ground, Sasuke? Is he going to be the good or the evil? I think maybe that's kept his character not as defined as it needs to be, in my opinion. But that's just a criticism. I don't make mangas myself, so. But anyway. Alright, the second half of your comment. Granted, it's Naruto's series, but Sasuke wins Best Supporting Role, Best Antagonist overall, and not to mention everyone relates this to Naruto being outclassed earlier in the series. Yeah, he was. But if you really paid attention, they were always neck and neck. Senjutsu works because Obito is a partial sage, which correlates back to him nullifying normal jutsus against him. Though since Naruto absorbed pieces of the Bijou just as Obito, would Naruto transform into something similar? Well, we're all waiting on this. We absolutely are. Okay, appreciate your comments. Good insight there. All right. Virgil Fan 74. Hello from Germany. First of all, great job with your channel. Appreciate it. So, how awesome was this chapter? I can't wait to see Naruto in full Bijou mode. But I hope Minato doesn't disappear after giving the chakra to Naruto. I want to see a talk between Minato and Kakashi. There has to be a great fan moment. Also, I like the danger that the four Kages couldn't be along for the whole time of the war, right? And what's with Madara? Does he know that Hashi has the abilities to hurt Jubito? All good stuff. I appreciate it. Germany! I was there in the late 1960s as a little kid. Yes, I was. And then I went back there for a few days on my way when I was in the Air National Guard going to Kuwait, of all places, believe it or not. And actually, our plane broke, and I got to spend about 3 days there. That was in Frankfurt, actually. That was pretty interesting. German beer is awesome, by the way. But anyway, all right. Let's see. I don't want to get too much into that. But all right. Appreciate your comments, by the way. And let's see. Okay. Let's see. King Officius Haiga. I think Naruto is going to become the 10 tails because when he gets the other half of the 9 tails, it will mix with the other 8-tailed beasts. And a Mac, a 10 tails with a good half with the 9 tails beast. And let's see. Okay, there's a lot of bouncing back and forth here. Okay, a whole lot. Okay, I think this is this. I'm going to read this in this order. This may or may not be correct, but there's a whole lot of people going back and forth here. Mr. Marcus. When Tobirama first came back, I don't remember reading this comment, so I'm going to, this will be first reaction to this comment here. When Tobirama first came back in Edo form, we attacked him going off on him. Then one episode changed that, what we thought about him. Come on, people. Oh, I did read this comment. You can't be serious, but the hero, let's knock him for for what a misled, delusional individual like Obito pleased. But his excuse for what he's doing is correct. No, I don't think I agree with Rampage at all. Anybody else that agrees with this nonsense Obito allowed Madara to manipulate him too many times. He's the one caught in the Gigitsu, not us, not me anyway. All right, there's a whole lot of we've spent a lot of time on this, and then the Toby Rama thing too. And I've said this a few times. It does, his good points don't negate his bad points. They're there. Okay, the guy hates Uchiha. All right, he said there's a couple of Uchiha, but I mean he's a Uchiha hating guy. That's it. That's Toby Rama. Okay, but did he do experiments on babies like Ochomaru? Did he do a lot of... No. Is he completely bad? No. Now, that single fact about him, for some people, that may be it. You see that and you go, okay, he's got some, racist or ethnic issues, and that's it. Done with this guy. I don't care about the other. But there's the other parts. So, but anyway, we've spent a lot of time on this, Minato, and now we're getting into the whole Toby Rama thing, which I really don't want to get into. Okay, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a whole lot of stuff here. I am going to skip. All right, because where are we at here? We are 51 minutes. I want to get other people in this. About an hour is fine to me, but I don't really want to be going a whole lot over that. All right, sorry everybody, I'm having to skip some portions of this discussion. It's not because it isn't worth hearing or reading. It's just time-wise. Okay, I want to get different people into the discussion. Okay, and let's see. Reacted 1991. Did anyone know the summoning jutsu had a time limit? Because I'm sure I didn't even think that they mentioned it till this chapter. And then Where's Waldo's production response? When Jiraiya taught Naruto the Jujutsu, he explains it as a temporal spatial technique. At that time, I understood temporal as the existence of our physical world, just as context clues. Now that I think about it, maybe they're referring to the temporary as an amount of time. It makes... I didn't know it either, but, I mean, they've been out there for a long time, so that could... Let me just wait. It isn't anything that would necessarily not make sense, so... I don't think that it was just some cheap thing to get him out of there, because I don't think that Gamikichi is... Although he gives that clue, I think that was really his biggest thing, was to give him a clue and maybe help save him, buy him a little bit of time. I don't think that he outserved his purpose. How about that? Okay, no less than 5,000 sneaky burritos. I think we need to keep in mind that not only does the second half of Kyuubi's chakra and Minato have the potential to complete Naruto's Kyuubi Sage Mode, but also has the potential to be taken expectantly from Obito to further take him closer to perfection in his own Sage Mode. I wonder what Kishi has against the third Hokage. First, making him completely fail against Ochomaru. Now just blown up by Obito and gone forever before he realized what really happened. He pulled a classic Yamamoto. Looking back at the original battle with Hashirama and Madara, I think I have an idea of what the finishing blow to Obito will be. If Naruto gains the second half of the Kyuubi, and it is evident that he has the other beast power from what that other panel said earlier on, then it might be possible that he would see a Ultra Kyuubi Sage Bijou Bomb infused perfect Susanoo Takasaki blade. You have been inspired by Minato. That is a Minato naming technique you just did right there. With the combination of Naruto and Sasuke in their final ultimate forms, perfect Susanoo Kyuubi Sage, we can leave Minato to name that. Okay, you got it. Well done. I like that. That's awesome. And somebody I have not heard from here so far has a couple of comments. Connolly Bob 9. All right. Oh yes, Tobirama showing off his tactical ability. I know that we'd be seeing a lot of his tactical genius in this fight, prejudice aside. He's the best Hokage hands down, and now that Minato's flaws are really coming to the surface, perhaps more people would be inclined to agree. Now if he can show off some real impressive Suiten techniques, I'll be even happier. Tobirama rules. And the fake sage of the six paths, Toby drools. Okay. While I don't think that Minato really deserves most of Obito's bashing, we got to see him in a much more flawed light this chapter. I think that Minato has more fans than any character in Naruto because he's been so hyped from the beginning. And while he's really an amazing shinobi, he is never really as perfect as all that. He's as flawed as any human being and prone to make mistakes. Oh, and now that we've seen Akibi's Yin, who returned to life with Minato, of course, curse you, Minato, you let Yin die. Okay, a little joke there. Okay, all right. All right, Khaled Bob 9. It's so easy to read your comments. It's so easy to read your comments. One day when you hit it big, I want a signed copy of whatever you've written. That's all I'm going to say. No pressure. All right. Appreciate your comments as always. Panamantis. Now we all know why Tobirama is the second Hokage. Nice one thing Naruto is picking up well is every time an opponent is gearing up something, he's been able to read that opponent better. I believe the second and Naruto will do some more combos against Obito. Maybe Minato and Sasuke have a combo for him too. Yeah, well this one got him, but I think it's because he didn't realize he's going to get negated. And then you continue on with Panamantis does. One question I want to ask. Is Captain Yamamoto, is he still captured or is he dead? Last time I checked, Obito was preserving him for his chakra to power up the Zetsu. I think he's another one. He's still being a battery, so I don't know. And what is Kabuto doing? I mean, I don't know. There's so much stuff going on. I don't know. But I mean, that's the thing. Kishi has us guessing, and we don't know. All right, appreciate the comments. Conley Bob 9. It's really interesting that Sage Mode can hurt Obito. Who else in the field can use Sage Mode? Hashirama used it in his fight with Madara when he summoned the giant Buddha. I wonder if Madara can also use it now that he has Hashi's DNA. If the two of them could join forces against Obito, that might make a difference. And maybe we've got a reason to bring back Jiraiya, since he had also learned Sage Mode. In all, it has been a good chapter this week. I like the idea of being able to kill Idos. I've been shocked not shocked. I've been pleasantly surprised at how people have responded to this chapter. You can tell on the videos when you start getting a lot of comments and they start coming in early, and you can just feel it that the chapter is really connected with people. This was a really good chapter. It was enjoyable, but still there were so many elements to it that's what's led to all these comments, especially really quick. So it's been a pretty amazing chapter actually. Even better. Sometimes a chapter, when you look back on it, wasn't quite as good as you thought. This one was even better. Appreciate your comments as always, Colin Bob Knight. Life in the boot. I guess we aren't going to ask why Obito isn't using his eyes. His MS power is his best. You can hit the man. And the Rinnegan, well, it's the Rinnegan. Both of them combined voids all jutsu. Appreciate the comments. And let's see, I think G. Gorsey, you have a few comments. I think these are responses. But anyway, I'm just going to read them in order. Okay, the Yin chakra, that comes from the spirit energy, and the Yang chakra, that comes from the physical. Right, that's what I believe it is. So I think the Yin chakra are easier to control because of spiritual energy, and that's why Minato went easily Nine-Tails mode. But the Yang chakra is hard to control because it's physical energy, and that's why Naruto had a hard time controlling the Nine-Tails before. a lot of people have, I've heard both. They're like, well, he gave him the easy one. He gave him the hard one. Except for one being spirit and energy, I have no clue which would be easier or harder. Just no idea. And you continue on with a couple of comments here. Okay. Remember when Naruto tamed Kurama? He was able to use Kurama's chakra, even though he wasn't on good terms with the fox, but couldn't be in full Bijou form due to that. Minato has only been using Kurama's chakra, but has never went full Bijou mode up to this. I hope that clears up things a bit for everybody. Good video, and keep up the good work. And you also continue with one more comment. I love how funny this comment was after Naruto failed to go Bijou mode. I think it's easy to underestimate Naruto sometimes because he is stupid. but when he gets very smart, I can't even read that. Like using Senjutsu and effective against Obito's form. Sorry about that. I kind of mangled that up. Alright, and let's see. Wow, we're at the end. We are at like 2 comments here. Alright. 2310 Sammy. Now, I exactly understand why Madara didn't want, second to last comment by the way, want Hashirama to intervene with Obito. Madara knew Sage Mode has an effect on Obito. And so he didn't want Hashirama to find out because Hashirama has Sage Mode. And he is strong, and that would mean that Hashirama could possibly defeat Obito, which would ruin Madara's plans. So all this time Madara has been distracting Hashirama purposely. Well, that would be, I don't know, it looked like maybe he is, but it looked like he really wanted to go get to wherever he needed to activate whatever it is for his plan. So I don't think it's it, but maybe it is. Okay, this is the last comment. Lucky Chicken 757. Love your videos. Keep doing the good work. This chapter was pretty good. Ever since Obito was revealed, he has been doing a lot of talking. But he does have a point in this chapter. Minato has been a horrible teacher to let his 2 students die. But again, it shows that Minato wasn't a perfect individual, similar to the other 3 Hokages, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and lack of involvement. Mostly what I'm seeing isn't blaming everything on Minato. It's just they see him as a flawed, like all other human beings are, and that still doesn't excuse anyone else's actions. So anyway, awesome comments, and like I've said before, like people can see, people that go to other channels and everything, this is a small, look, it's a small channel. I've gotten just over 500 views. This is, I've got like 933 subscribers, whatever it is. Okay, this is a tiny, itty-bitty little channel. Okay, the Naruto comments and the Fairy Tail comments are coming along pretty good now. So the comments are awesome. These are worth reading. They're not the normal blurps where people are fighting each other and trashing each other and doing all that. This stuff has been thought out. I love it. I love what you guys have done with this channel. The comments are awesome. That's right. You run off and ignore the trolls. You end up with the good stuff like this. This is enjoyable. This time next year, from what I'm understanding, Naruto will be a thing of the past, right? So I don't want to get too nostalgic here in the closing moments of this video, but enjoy. I'm a 47-year-old person. Let me just tell you, okay? This is my life lesson thing. Enjoy things while they're there, okay? Time moves on, they go away. So this time that we are enjoying, all of us here, Naruto, enjoy it now. Have fun. Make your comments, right? There's no reason to wait. All right. The only thing that people truly regret are the things that they don't do. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Appreciate everyone. Have a lot of respect for anyone that steps up, right, in front of everybody, puts their comments out there, because you're putting yourself out there also for criticism, for this and that. It takes something. I really do think it's awesome. But anyway, all right. I really respect and appreciate everyone's efforts. Anyone can be an anime fan. You can always subscribe. You can always unsubscribe. You can do anything you want to. Till next time. Take care.